I think I've been very happy. Everybody says, man, you just seem like you're in a better mood this offseason. I said, you're damn right I am. So this guy, he's a special guy. I think one of the best ways that I can describe him, when you hear people that have been around him, there's a known confidence where when he walks into a room, you always feel his presence, but he's got a great humility about himself. That everybody loves being around him, and he's one of those guys that I think is a true igniter. Makes everybody around him better. I feel like I've become a better coach in the few months that we've been able to spend together, and we're looking forward to doing a lot of good things together. I hate that I even have to say this, but I think I made a comment earlier that was definitely taken out of context. I am very excited. I have been in a good mood because of the confidence I have in this team, but by no means is that a slight to anybody, like Jared, who has done a phenomenal job for the last 4 years here. I hated that I even have to address that, but I do think out of respect for him and all the good things he's done, I am in a good mood, but that doesn't mean it's not because we're working together or because of just Stafford exclusively. There's a lot of good things going on that I feel really good about and I'm confident about. So don't twist my words when I didn't say that.
Oh, God help me. Come on, Sean McVay. Come on. Come on,
I love the
what
tone.
Are you going to believe? What are you going to believe? What are you going to believe? What are you going to believe? You're going to believe the loose and relaxed Sean McVay where the truth escapes his vocal cords, or are you going to believe the hostage video? Which one are you going to believe, Myles?
Listen, I spent, as we know, a lot of time covering Sean McVay, man. And, whenever he uses the tone, when he brings it out like this, don't twist my words. He used the same tone when he was talking about Matthew Stafford. You're damn right I'm in a better mood. Everybody tells me, hey, you look like you're in a better mood, man. You're damn right. Come on. It's not. When I first saw that video, I first saw the comments, and I sent it to a couple buddies of mine. I'm like, wait a minute. What's he doing here? Can he help himself? And then the same thing when I saw the video, I'm like, this is worse. If you're Jared Goff and you see that, you're like, come on, man. Why you gotta do something like that? And it's not really taking his words out of context. It's frankly not.
No.
It's just not.
No.
Because everybody knows how
happens.
he felt about Jared Goff at the end there. We all know.
People think that if you take a quote out of a broader comment, you've taken it out of context. Not if that quote meshes with the meaning of the broader statement. There's nothing in what he said that was out of context. It was accurate. It was his feelings. And, I'm even more miffed that Sean McVay would do this than a player. It's one thing for a player to do it because a player's not there to be a wordsmith. Coaches are communicators. You got to be able to make your point. And if you make your point in a clumsy way that comes off as a slap at the guy who was the quarterback when you weren't in a good mood, if you do that, that's on you as a coach. You failed to communicate. Don't blame anyone else. Don't blame us. That's on you. Apologize to Jared Goff. Don't blame the media for taking the comment out of context. You're going to lose me there immediately when you try to play those games because we're not dumb, Coach. You may think we're dumb. You may think it's enough just to say our name when you're given the answer and we're going to be won over. That's not how this game works, bro. You got to be straight with us. You got to be honest with us. And that hostage video from yesterday, I look at that and I say, you know what? He really is John Gruden, Myles.
And
I don't mean that in a good way.
He's John Gruden.
I don't mean that in a good way.
I know. But I knew that you didn't mean it in a good way. Maybe the audience did. Look, I think it's interesting because there was a period of time where Sean McVay was inextricably linked to Jared Goff, and he wanted it that way. I mean, that was something that he talked about in the summer of 2019 when he got his contract extension. He said he wanted to be tied to Jared Goff, for as long as those two were together, for as long as he was there, as a coach, right? That was his thing. And so we all know that relationship crumbled over the last 2 years, in part because Jared Goff couldn't stop turning the ball over. Right? That was something that he talked about in the season. Our quarterback has to take better care of the football. Then after that playoff loss in Green Bay, Jared Goff is our quarterback right now. You get Les Snead saying he's our quarterback for this moment. and then Jared Goff is gone. And then you bring in Matthew Stafford because you believe that's the guy who can help you win the Super Bowl. So you can play it off as if you're saying, yes, I'm in a better mood because this guy's my quarterback. But the question that he got asked there was basically, what do you think of Matthew Stafford? And then you're saying, everybody says you look like you're in a better mood. There's only one way to interpret that quote. Like, it's not that it's taken out of context. We have the larger context because everybody knows what happened. So there's only one way to interpret it. And I know that, like, you don't want it to be interpreted that way. And you might not have even thought that that's where you were going with it as it came out of your mouth. But as people who know the entire context of what this is, when you say something like that, there's only one way to interpret it, and that's the way we have to go with it. I don't know what else to say.
Almost 2 years ago to the day. What is today? Today's the 11th. 2 years ago to the day. Posted this at PFT. Quote from Sean McVay. Any of the things or narratives that are out there, Jared Goff, as long as I'm fortunate enough to be in this role, hopefully this guy's stuck with me for a long time. He's an outstanding leader. Yeah. People make a deal about the system. He's the reason why. Our players are the reason why the system is what it is, because he can do so many different things. And really, when you just look at the confidence we have in him, taking steps from year one in the system to year two, and just thinking back last year how confident he was. And now I think it's even that much more this year. He's got true ownership, great ability to communicate with his teammates, yada, yada. That was 2 years ago today. And, yeah, you're in a better mood now that he's gone. It's fine. It's fine. Why are you afraid to admit the obvious? And you're right, Myles. When you're asked about Matthew Stafford and you're the head coach and you lead it that way, again, this gets back to the ability to communicate or not that a coach truly has. He took it there. Don't blame us when you took it there. That's the bottom line as I see it, Myles.
Yeah, and you can't blame the media for interpreting your words as something like the way that they were interpreted. Because, like I said, we all know what happened. We all know that he was very disappointed in what Jared Goff had been putting out there the last 2 years. So if you're in a better mood because Matthew Stafford's your quarterback, yeah, you should be in a better mood. I mean, like, I would probably be in a better mood too if I thought that my team was a quarterback away, and then we went out and then we got that quarterback that I think is going to not just take us to the playoff level, help us win a playoff game, and get our scoring level back to the top 2, top 3 level that it was in 2017 and 2018 before, everybody seemed to figure Jared Goff out and what defenses he could or could not read or what throws he was or wasn't capable of making. Yeah, like if you think you can unlock everything that you've ever wanted to be as an offense, as a head coach and as a play caller, yes, you should be in a better mood. But you can't blame us for interpreting things based on the facts that we all have in front of us. That's the only conclusion that I can come to here.
I got another trip down memory lane for you. This is bringing back all sorts of stuff from a couple of years ago, and I've been vindicated, so I'm even happier to share this with you.
I remember when you were writing this
that I was
stuff,
wrong
Mike.
about. Listen, because I reacted, Myles, to the quotes from Sean McVay, which were made before Jared Goff got his second contract.
I know.
By saying these things, you're driving up his price. His agent is going to print it off, laminate it, and slap it down on the table when it's time to negotiate. You're saying all these that's one of the first things I learned in this business, getting to know general managers, executives, coaches. You don't praise your guy publicly until after he gets his contract because they're going to jam it down your throat when you do. So, Fred Rogan, who was with the NBC LA affiliate at the time, I frankly don't know if he still is. I guess he is. Okay, he called me out for saying they shouldn't pay Jared Goff. They shouldn't pay Jared Goff. They should wait and see. He's got 3 years in, 2 years left, missed a championship throw in the Super Bowl. It's McVay's system. Why are you going to pay him $35 million a year? It doesn't make any sense to me. Here's Rogan to Goff 2 years ago tomorrow. I don't know how often you check online and care what the pundits say. One of them suggested that the thing about Jared Goff is there will be a point in time where you're just going to get rid of him because you're going to bring somebody in who's younger, who will be your kind of guy. Now, to me, I thought that was insane because you've developed Goff into one of the top quarterbacks in the game. That was 2 years ago tomorrow. And you know what? He did bring somebody else in, and he had to tuck a first-round pick into the trade package on top of the 1 and a 3 to get rid of Goff's contract. And I still think they did that, Myles, so Stan Kroenke wouldn't realize they had to give up a first-round pick to get rid of Jared Goff.
Well, the only thing you kind of got wrong there was that they were bringing somebody younger. They actually brought in somebody older. And
I'll take anybody at this point.
Well,
I'll take Joe Namath at this point over Jared Goff.
Well, I mean, they got somebody who they thought could elevate the offense. But I remember when you were writing that stuff, because at the time I was still working there, and I'm thinking, man, this guy Mike Florio, you shouldn't read that crap from that guy, because what does he know? He doesn't know anything. He's not here
and
every day.
Only in your wildest dreams or nightmares would you actually be working with me.
I know. Lo and behold, look where I am today, 2 years later, man. And look who was right. Because it was just funny because, look, the thing about sometimes that what we can do that other people who are in it every day can't do, you see it from this 30,000-foot view, right? And if you're in it every day and you feel like, well, they love Jared Goff. Jared Goff has performed to this level. He's done this. He's done that. They just went to the Super Bowl. You don't necessarily see it from the league perspective where it's like, well, there are probably a bunch of guys around the league who are playing like Jared Goff is playing and could maybe play better in this system. And that is clearly the conclusion that the Rams themselves have come to over the last couple of years, that Jared Goff is not elevating this thing enough so that, you can justify paying him what they're paying him, what they were paying him, and now Detroit's partially paying him now. So, when you go out and you get Matthew Stafford, yeah, it's vindication for you for those things that you wrote 2 years ago, but it's also, you're admitting basically that you made a mistake in paying Jared Goff what you paid him and giving him that contract. And so all these things now from 2 years ago, it's like, man, Florio, I guess, was right. And maybe you should read that crap because you might learn something for later.
That is the best endorsement we've ever gotten. And look, here's the thing. I don't mean to pick on Sean McVay, but don't listen. There's a price to be paid when you play that game with the media. Never pick a fight with someone who buys their ink by the truckload. Don't blame us for the thing you said. You said it. Own it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.